bureaucracy and hideous, illogical red tape. Local busybodies who haven't got a Scooby-Doo about anything, poking their nose really about things that they don't know anything about. I tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of words you can describe the planning process with, but certainly not normal. So the UK housing crisis can be solved, but there's one group of people standing in its way, and that, believe it or not, is the Royal Institute of British Architects. To find out what I'm banging on about, stay tuned. Hi, my name's Ranjan Bhattacharya. I've been investing in property for 30 years. You may have seen me on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator, or caught me at one of our Central London Baker Street property networking events. If you're new to this channel, don't go away without subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you don't miss out on our future videos. Now, we all know Britain has a housing crisis. We need 300,000 homes, but we're only building 100,000. So on August the 1st, of course, the government introduced new permitted development rules. These new permitted development rules allow commercial buildings, defunct commercial buildings, to be repurposed to residential use under a very light touch planning regime. It's not actually full planning permission, it's something called permitted development. So these rules are an absolute game changer. Now, according to Property Week magazine, data sort of an analytical firm Nimbus Maps, who produce some very, very exciting tools for us property entrepreneurs, they did some interesting little bit of research by collecting data from up and down the land. And what they've found is that using the new permitted development right, which is Class MA, which stands for Mercantile to Abode, there are 31,436 properties which have 88 million square foot, which can be repurposed to 135,000 two-bedroom flats under Class MA permitted development rules. Now, that is phenomenal. Just think about that for one moment. First of all, building these 135,000 new dwellings from defunct commercial buildings is exceptionally green. You don't have to dig up farmland or greenbelt land or anything like that. These buildings already exist, they're already constructed, and they're already usually in places where people are about and want to be about. The second thing is, it's quick. You actually have the fabric of the building constructed. You have foundations, you have four walls, you have a rooftop. The fabric of the building is already there. And it's relatively, therefore, quick in terms of building works to do a conversion into multiple flats because the works are internal to the building. So what's not to like? I mean, we build homes quickly, we make use of existing buildings, it's green, it's efficient, it doesn't plough up fields in the green belt. What possibly is there not to like? Well, the Royal Institute of British Architects seem to be having a little bit of a moan about this. They wrote a letter to the government requesting them to urgently reconsider the measures. In their letter, they say, allowing commercial premises to be converted into homes presents a risk to our nation's town centres and small businesses. Hang on a minute, Royal Institute of British Architects, what do they know about small businesses and the risks they pose to them? But anyway, without the usual checks and balances, you mean bureaucracy and hideous, illogical red tape. Without the usual checks and balances through the normal planning process. I tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of words you can describe the planning process with, but certainly not normal. Without the usual checks and balances through the normal planning process, and without the facility for local communities to comment on the proposals. Local communities to comment on the proposals. You mean local busybodies who haven't got a Scooby-Doo about anything, poking their nose really about things that they don't know anything about. And which creates poor quality housing. Well, hang on a minute. Anything that you build is subject to building regulations. that is concerned with the safety and the livability, things like ventilation, things like windows and outlook and all the rest of it. You cannot construct a building in the UK if it doesn't conform to building regulations. Building regulations is what keeps properties to a high standard. So why are the Royal Institute of British Architects having such a moan? So if you're liking this video, make sure you smash that like button and let me know what you're thinking, because I'm talking some controversial stuff. I'd love to know your views about planning permission and the whole PD process. Let me know in the comments below. So let's just have a look at some of the works, some of the great works that members of the Royal British Architects people actually get up to. Now, these are some of the nominations for the 2020 Architecture Award, whatever it is. And as you can see, they get involved in some nice little building schemes here. They're all sort of, nice looking stuff. It's all grand designs. If you watch grand designs on telly, you kind of see what I mean. And there is a lot of effort goes into producing new dwellings like this. So this is the kind of work that RIBA members get up to. Now, let me show you some commercial conversion projects done under permitted development before and after photographs. Here's one of our deals. Here's the before and here's the after. Here's another one. Here's the building before, here's the building after. This is one of my students' projects. Here's the building before, here's the building after. And another one, before, after. Now you get the point. There's not actually that much difference in external appearance between the before and after pictures, is there? That's because permitted development is about conversion of the existing building envelope into multiple flats. Now hang about. If this means that we can solve the housing crisis by building 135,000 two-bedroom flats within existing buildings, and the external look of the buildings doesn't have to change, then perhaps you might need less architects. Perhaps that might be the reason why there is so much objection from RIBA and their members. Aha, self-interest as usual. Well, what I'm aiming to do on this channel is to shine a light on some of the nonsense and bumcum that you'll see out there. You'll see out there in the media, and people are going to jump all over. And these permitted development rules are phenomenally enabling for savvy property entrepreneurs. They allow you to do much more than you could ever do before under a very, very light touch planning regime. Now, the thing is, nothing ever lasts forever. And news stories like this and pressure groups like the Royal Institute of British Architects, and last week, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how the BBC had jumped on these permitted development rules as being the sort of devil reincarnated. These sort of news stories are going to grow, and sooner or later, the powers that be will respond. They'll respond, and they will curtail and clip the wings of some of these permitted development rights. What's happening now, though, is that there's an opportunity for first mover advantage. There's an opportunity to understand fully what all these rules are about and how you can take entrepreneurial advantage before the rules change for the worse, before the market fully understands what can and can't be done, and to create some of these new dwellings that the country badly needs. And guess what? It will be quite profitable for you too. To find out more about this amazing opportunity, join me on my 90-minute free masterclass, where I'll take you through what this opportunity is about, what sort of sites that you want to go looking for, and I'll share with you examples, real-life examples of deals being done this year from both myself and some of my students who are out there living and breathing these sort of opportunities. The link's on the screen here and in the description below. That's it for this video. Don't go away without subscribing and hitting that bell icon. See you guys in the next video. High streets across the land are changing forever. Basically, there's an oversupply of retail premises. Shops are closing down, more are going to close down in the future. The government know this, and that's why they're introducing a light touch planning system which allows small developers to easily repurpose these buildings to residential use under a light touch planning regime called permitted development. Now, this is going to be the biggest revolution and the biggest change and the biggest opportunity for property investors that I've ever seen. And this is all coming into effect on 1st of August. So you need to know what's happening and what properties to look for to take advantage of these opportunities so that you can get in there and take that first mover advantage. I've got a 90-minute free masterclass to get you ready for August the 1st. Make sure you join me, click the link below. Whether you're a beginner or expert, we'll get you started.